The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Conor Commentary, a hilarious take on news, politics, sports, and current events. It's time to buckle up. Here's Conor.
All right, we are back, and it is now officially going on year 2, right? Oh boy, here it is. Now it starts with Ben, and I am back in my work clothes again. This is becoming a regular occurrence at this point, right? It's almost an every week thing. I just come here from work and
come here on your 4:30 lunch break.
4:30 lunch break. Yep. No, this time I get to go home after. So after the show, I'm not going back. I'm going home.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
How many cars did you sell today in that terrible weather?
I didn't sell any.
Yeah, because it was terrible weather outside.
It was terrible weather. Although I ran around outside in the rain. I've done that a bunch lately. I thought I was going to get sick. I hate that. That's how I end up getting sick. Yes. People run you around on the lot when it's raining.
Stay the fuck away from me.
Seriously.
I don't want what you got.
That was on Saturday, I think. Saturday was the day it downpoured, right?
Dude, I don't remember.
You don't remember now. Every day blends in.
Every day blends in.
Every day blends in for you. Well, you're on the radio on Saturdays in Rhode Island, right?
Yes.
Yep. I was telling somebody about that today. How come a bunch of people know who your co-host is?
Dondero?
Yeah. But I tell people, I'm like the guy that produces my show.
Because I don't do social media anymore.
That's probably why. Do you put your name out there?
I had like triple, quadruple the followers he ever did.
Yeah.
But I shut that account down. Yeah, trust me. People that are longtime listeners know me more.
Right.
Yeah.
Why you shut the account down? Because Twitter is such a cesspool, right?
Yeah, and I had no desire to even look at Twitter, so I was just like, you know what? I don't care about this. There's 5,000, 6,000 followers here. I don't care.
Yep. I deleted Twitter for a long time before too.
Yeah.
I kind of regret it now because before I at least had like several hundred, like 600-700 people following me, and then I just deleted it, and now I've only been back for a little while, and I'm like, shit, I didn't realize how long it takes you to even get to like 1,000 followers.
Yeah. So the other thing about Mark is he likes playing with social media, so he'll put out like videos on Twitter and stuff like that. And there's one that he did a month ago, 2 months ago.
Yep.
Has like 100,000 views.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah. Well, he's also like, he was on TV for a while down in Providence, doing like the sports updates for the local news.
Yep.
And he's a creative guy, so he'd do some creative, interesting, weird things. And a couple of his things ended up on like late night shows.
Oh,
like Kimmel
really?
And stuff. Yeah.
Did it?
Oh, yeah.
Shit. Good for him.
He did one video where he was mimicking I think it was a Patriots thing. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he mimicked like everything was going wrong in the studio, and he didn't know, quote unquote, he was being filmed.
Yeah.
When it happened. He knew exactly what he was doing.
So he set the whole thing up?
He set the whole thing up. And then the late night, they all buy into it thinking this is a colossal fuck up, when in reality is, no, he planned it that way.
That's actually hilarious. So he did it, made it look it, and then tricked everyone into thinking that he had no idea what he was doing, but he absolutely massive manipulated them.
Yes, he did.
That's serious, and it ended up on Kimmel. Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much bigger, right?
Yeah, he's gone there a couple times.
He's gone there or been on there?
I think he's been on twice.
Really?
Like they've taken his clips.
Right.
2 times, I believe.
I remember Tom Brady was on there. Wasn't that good of a skit, though.
Oh, throwing balls through Matt Damon's window.
Matt Damon's window, yeah.
That part was kind of funny.
That part was good, yeah. I only like that show because I love Guillermo.
Oh, I don't even
his security.
Watch
his security. I don't watch it either. I just watch it on YouTube. You can watch clips of Guillermo going to the things.
Oh, have you seen the NBA All-Star game?
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
The NBA All-Star game, and then you see the one where he went to the Super Bowl for the Patriots.
Yes,
and he talked to like Bill Belichick and asked him for his autograph. And then he asked, what was it? This was the one versus the Eagles. He asked, what's his name? Todd Peterson? Is that their coach? Or Scott Peterson? No, Scott Peterson.
It's definitely not Scott Peterson.
It's not Scott Peterson. No, I think it's Todd, the coach for the Eagles.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah. And he was like, why are you no grumpy like the other guy? He had no idea what to say. He didn't know how to respond. That was hilarious. That was funny.
You said you have a tweet for me you wanted to surprise me
with?
Oh,
yeah, I do. I was just going through my Twitter before we got on the air, and I saw this.
Is this going to make me look bad?
No, it's not going to make you look bad. I just thought it's extremely interesting, and I'm kind of dumbfounded to see if this is true and how it is true. And it's geography related, so we like to talk geography, right?
All right, fantastic.
So the world's biggest landowner is Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah.
who legally owns about 16.6% of the Earth's land surface area. She's the only person on Earth who owns multiple countries. How do you own countries?
Oh, it's bullshit. She don't own
This
shit.
doesn't count? No?
No.
So who is Queen Elizabeth II? Is this like 1,000 years old then?
No, she's the one still alive.
Oh, she's alive?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it... Well, then I don't know anything about the royal family then.
6.6 billion acres.
That's how much land she owns?
Yeah. The closest runner... Well...
How much money is this lady worth?
I can get into that in a second. The closest runner-up is King Abdullah.
Okay.
Holding over...
Where is he?
Paltry 547 million acres.
547 million acres. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Could sell it for $1 an acre.
Yeah, I remember at one point, Ted Turner owned so much land between Texas and Montana that he could literally go on his property all the way from basically Mexico to Canada and never leave his property.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He owned that much land, and it was all together.
Right.
It was all pieced together. So.
Right. So he basically he created his own state.
Yeah. The Queen doesn't actually own anything, really.
Right.
When they're looking at it, they're looking at like, technically Canada's the sovereign of...
it's that type of stuff?
That type of bullshit.
That's what I figured. I'm like, how does she own 16% of the earth?
No, it's not true.
So what do they do to get money in the royal family then? Are they just wealthy from like 1 billion years ago?
Yeah, I mean, they're incredibly wealthy from in the past, but I don't think they pay taxes or anything like that.
No.
And,
They got the tax exemption.
Yeah,
over
I
there.
don't know exactly how it works. I've never understood the fascination with the royal family.
Me neither.
Whether it be Princess Diana or through the current day, like Prince Harry or whomever the hell they are.
He left, didn't he?
Yeah, he bounced.
Wasn't that a big thing? He was like, I'm out.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in this family no more.
that honey drip got him out.
Oh, his girlfriend?
Yeah.
She's famous in America, though, right?
She wasn't really before.
No.
She was on some crappy USA show.
And look where it got her, though.
Oh, she's a good-looking girl. I think that's more what got her where she got.
Now she's a princess, right? Is that how it works?
I don't know.
All this stuff is like false, though. This isn't like way back in the day when there were real prince and princess and kings and stuff.
Matter. I mean, there still are certain kings around the world.
Oh, for sure. That guy that's the second one, what's he the king of? Because he could be the king of something where that still exists.
King Abdullah?
Yeah.
Probably Saudi Arabia, is that
right? So they probably still have kings,
King
right?
Abdullah is.
There's definitely countries that still have kings.
but it's not done like the way it used to be done.
Right.
It's not an oligarchy like it used to be. It's different. Typically, well, if you look at England, she doesn't really have any power.
Right.
She's very limited actual power.
She's not elected official, right?
No,
it's not.
No.
So she's not even because they have a prime minister, which is equivalent to the president, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
the Queen does have a little bit of power.
Yeah.
If something gets really bogged down and backlogged, like it can go to her and she can sign off on certain things.
Can she pardon people?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Because that would be interesting.
But they can all go to hell for all I know. The whole royal family can fall into a sinkhole and just perish, and I will not worry or bat an eyelash.
You really don't like them, huh?
Well, they've been harboring Prince Andrew forever, and that guy's a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah, he's a part of the bad dude club, right?
Yes, he's a part of the bad dude club.
Yeah, fucking bad guy. Did you learn that on Gotta Be Me, or did you already know?
No, come on, I already knew that.
Okay. Who's he? He's one of the sons?
Who?
Prince, whatever
Andrew?
his name is? Yeah.
I think he's a nephew of the royal line.
Oh, so it gets into that.
Like, I think he's William and Harry's, I think that's their names. I think he's their uncle.
Why can't we be like the nephew of like the king of something or somewhere?
Prince Charles' younger brother.
Prince Charles' younger brother, okay.
That guy's weird too.
You know what I mean? You just fall into this.
Yeah.
Born into a royalty or whatever it's called.
Yeah, well, King Ralph the movie was not a documentary, so unfortunately that doesn't really happen. And I know you don't know what the hell
I don't know what King Ralph is.
Maybe Ed remembers that horrific movie King Ralph with John Goodman.
How old is it?
30 years old.
John Goodman, who is he? He sounds wicked familiar.
He was Dan and Roseanne.
Oh, okay. Yep. I actually know what that is.
Babe Ruth in The Babe.
In The Babe, never seen The Babe.
Okay, he was one of Denzel's fellow cops in Fallen.
Nope, nothing.
He was the voice of the bigger monster in Monsters, Inc.
Okay, now we're talking.
Not Mike Wazowski, but the other one.
Yep, it's been a while.
Mike Wazowski, you forgot to fill out your paperwork.
Sounds like somebody who smokes 2 packs of Newports a day over there.
That was the old woman in that movie.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. I know this one lady who sounds just like that. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what cigarette smoke of 40 years does to you.
I used to sound like this, and now I smoke for 5 packs a day. Now I sound like this.
That's what happens, man. Hey,
It is what happens.
right?
It is what happens.
That's one of the repercussions.
Yeah.
That and lung disease and whatever else. So
Why are you going to bring us down here, Connor?
I don't know. I know. Here we go.
Bad news, Connor. That's what we call you.
But on the bright side, man, there's all sorts of people out there who you see on the news who are like 97 years old. They smoke a pack of cigarettes for like 70 years.
Yeah.
They're like, what's your key? And they're like, oh, I drink a glass of scotch every night since I was 18. And it's like, okay, they live to be 99. So
I got some good news for all the alcoholics listening or watching your show.
do you? Okay, there's probably many.
I'm sure there's quite a few.
There's people who dabble, I'm sure.
If you're an alcoholic,
Yep.
start smoking pot.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not saying give up your alcoholism. I mean, you should. But there's some good news, some good research that's come out lately that says alcoholics with certain levels, different levels of pot use,
Yep.
their liver is actually much better off because of the pot. The pot helps them not have so much liver damage.
Marijuana does a lot of good things for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yep, it is. I don't know that many like negative things that have proved to be true over the years, like by statistical research or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, the war on pot has been one of the biggest, crimes that the U.S. government has perpetrated on us. It's such horse shit, and it's all because some guy.
How many lives have they ruined?
Hearst was like, I have a paper factory, and I don't want you guys using hemp.
Right.
I think that's exactly how he talked.
And wasn't the media like
that's
massive?
Him.
That was him?
Yeah.
So he was like the media, and then he put out that marijuana is terrible for you.
Yeah, and I think he funded Reefer Madness, which was like one of the original propaganda things. Ed Sullivan chimes in and says, John Goodman was Walter in The Big Lebowski.
Still no.
Oh,
sorry,
Jesus
Ed.
Christ.
Is that a really big movie? When's it from?
That's like 98.
All right.
It's one of the biggest cult movies of all time.
Okay. There's a lot of cult movies.
Yeah, but this is one of the absolute biggest.
Okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't a smash hit.
Yep.
It's a same guys that did Fargo, I think. I don't remember who directed it. I think it was those guys.
Okay. There's a lot of cult movies out there.
Yeah.
We had the guys on from, what's it called?
Suckers.
Suckers, yeah. That's a big cult movie in the car business. Everyone knew who that movie was.
It's not just the car business. A lot of people in sales. Like,
right.
My girl does sales, and she was like, Suckers, why do I know the name of that movie? I was like, it's car sales. And she's like, oh, yeah, I remember when I watched it when I was getting into sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing. Salespeople watch it.
Right.
They watch that and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Glengarry Glen Ross.
For the one scene.
I've heard of Glengarry Glen Ross.
ABC, always be closing.
Oh, is that Coffees for Closers?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of lines from that.
Second place, Steak Knives.
Steak Knives, that's a sales movie?
No, that was just one other line in that scene.
Oh.
There's only one scene in that entire movie you really need to watch, and it's the Alec Baldwin scene in Glengarry Glen Ross.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin. Who's the guy that does Jeopardy? I always get them confused.
Alex Trebek.
I always think Alex Trebek and Alex Baldwin. I always confuse them. I know they're drastically different, though.
That Canadian bastard.
Hey, don't say bad things with the Canadians. I'm on a show with
I know. Ray. I was just kidding. I was just seeing if Ray was actually listening, and I was like, hey, wait a second.
Anyone who tried to watch us last night, Ray and I fell asleep, literally. He texted me, and he was like, dude, do you want to take the night off? And I'm like, yes. I was hoping you would ask because I am exhausted. This is what happens when you work 20 days in a row, whatever the heck I've done.
Yeah.
You lose track of time and you just fall asleep when you're cereal at the end of the night like you're 80 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I work basically every day. I have to.
Right.
I call Ed every morning and go, what's today? He's like, it's Wednesday. I go, all right.
That's fine for Ed because he gets up at 3 in the morning.
No, he is.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me that his wake up time was 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's a growing problem, not a going problem.
Oh, okay. God. You're calling Ed old again, aren't you?
No.
Oh, here we go.
No. I've been getting a lot of crap for calling Ed old, too.
Have you?
Yeah.
People are getting upset. I told you they would.
Ed chimed in. Because he's on a little bit of a delay, so his comments usually come in for the previous bullshit topic we just talked about. He said,
that makes sense.
Our Salvation Army could beat the Canadian Army.
Oh, God. The Salvation Army does great things. They do the thing with the Santa Claus every year.
Yes, they ring those bells.
They ring those bells, and they save the money for the people, which is good.
Yes, they save the money.
Full support.
All right, can we talk about what we're actually going to talk about today, Connor?
That's very important because it is a big weekend this weekend. It is fantasy football. Yeah. It is my draft on Monday. I will be getting a trophy. Thank you very much for winning last year. The champion.
Stop looking at me like I'm in the league.
Nah, I know. I wish you were. I'm looking at the computer to anyone who's listening who is in the league. Champion. Let's go.
All right.
What you don't want to give away any sleepers though.
I'll give it all away.
Don't worry. No one in your league is watching my show.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
I know that for a fact.
And people who are in my league are watching the show. So
only one of my friends watches any of the shows here on the network.
And it's Wake Up America.
And it's not that. If any one of my friends watched that show, I probably wouldn't be friends with them anymore.
Okay, that's fair. That's a fair enough statement.
Unless they were doing it just to support me. Although if you supported, got to be me too. He's an awesome dude.
He is an awesome dude.
Crazy as shit.
Crazy, but he's a nice guy.
The sweetest man you could meet.
He is. It's very funny how those things combine.
So bizarre.
So bizarre, right?
You meet someone so fucking crazy.
Yes.
But at the same time, so unbelievably sweet. You're like, I don't get this.
Me neither.
Who are you? You're batshit crazy, but you're the nicest man I've ever met.
It is very funny, yeah.
He's like, you know what? Because I know he's listening. He's like the opposite of Ed.
Okay.
Ed's sane.
Yeah.
But a fucking asshole.
Ed just doesn't like people.
Well, yeah. If you don't like people, you're probably an asshole.
You think so? Maybe it's everyone else, though.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? People kind of suck.
In Ed's case, that might be the case.
Yep. Over the years, he's just like, fuck everyone.
I like how this episode has become we're just going to shit on Ed for 5 minutes.
Hey, and people. People in general.
We always shit on people.
I know.
People suck.
That's kind of what we're known for, I guess. You and I get on here and just go.
Yeah, we did have an episode called Conor and Ben Disrespect the Dead.
Who did we disrespect then? Aaron Hernandez was one of the people.
Oh, fuck him.
I was like, oh, R.I.P. And you're like, fuck him. I'm like, okay, then. Then we went off on another tangent, I think, of a bunch of dead celebrities who we did not care for.
Who cares? They're dead.
Who cares? Yeah,
what
exactly.
Are they gonna do?
They're going to be dead a long time.
All right, so you are the reigning Fantasy Football League champion in your league.
Yep.
I am not the reigning champion in my league of record.
No.
So I guess we should probably start with you.
All right.
Who are some of your first-round targets you're actively looking at?
Wow, I got to give it all away now. But you know what?
I know your friends are watching.
Yeah, I know. I have the 8th pick. So
out of
all the
10?
people out of 12.
Out of 12,
it's pretty tough.
It's horseshit.
I'll tell you a bunch of people who I think are going to get drafted. So if they don't, I'll draft them anyways. Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
I know Christian McCaffrey will be gone, number one.
McCaffrey, Saquon, Zeke
will be gone. Yep, there's 3 people right off the board. Then we're probably looking at...
do you have the token dumbass in the group that's going to take a quarterback in the first round?
I don't think so, unfortunately.
Right.
I was hoping so, but if someone takes someone in the quarterback in the first round, God bless him. More power to him.
More power to you, actually.
Yeah, more power to us. I'm thinking from there, like Dalvin Cook... Right?
Yep.
Because it's half-point PPR, so Dalvin Cook's going to catch some passes.
Yep.
That kid from Kansas City, Hilaire?
Clyde Edwards-Hilaire.
Clyde Edwards-Hilaire. I love that name. I'm high on him. I think he's going to be good because Kansas City's offense is so good, and there's just the other guy opted out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a lot of competition there. And then there's a bunch of people who I don't know about, like Nick Chubb, I don't know. Joe Mixon, I don't know.
Well, you got a wrench thrown in your plans with Alvin Kamara, too.
Alvin Kamara, that's who I was missing.
He's supposedly back at practice,
right?
And I think the holdout's over, but at the same time, does that leave lingering bad feelings in anyone's mouth?
Right. Now they start giving the ball to Latavius Murray, because they always give it to Latavius Murray as well. That pissed me off last year is that I had him, and Latavius Murray got in there a lot.
Yeah.
And Alvin Kamara didn't have that great of a year last year, but he's still going to have a good year. I know that. I don't know when he's going to go.
Yeah, but so now is he worth a first-round pick because you're now uncertain about him?
Yeah, he'll still go top 12, I think.
All right.
But I don't know. At the end, that's where it gets all bunched up.
Yeah.
And then coming back in the second round, because people like Josh Jacobs, who's going to go pretty high.
Yep.
But I don't know how good or bad he's going to be. What do you think of Joe Mixon?
He's a really good back. He had a ton of volume last year, particularly the second half of the year. They just kept feeding him the ball. And I think with Burrow back there, they're not going to quite do that as much, but he is talented, even though he's a piece of crap.
Can he catch the ball? He can, right?
Yeah, he can.
I always like that.
Yeah. So you typically are a running back in the first round kind of guy.
Try to be, yeah.
You try to be?
Try to be.
So with the 8th spot, that leaves you in a weird position, though, where...
Very.
Obviously the top 3 are gone, top 4 are gone, likely at that point. Maybe even the top 5 running backs are gone at that point. So you're left in a weird position. I'm thinking there's going to be 5
gone, yeah.
Where you're thinking possibly wide receiver in the first round. Someone like Julio Jones, Devontae Adams.
I'm thinking Michael Thomas.
He's the best one.
If he's still on the board.
If he's still available, go get him.
Because I think he's going to catch 1 million passes again.
Yeah. So you don't stick to this regimented, it has to be a running back in the first round. This is how I build my team.
No, although I would like to.
Do you have a drafting philosophy, though, in terms of I like going running back, wide receiver, or do you like going getting your RB1 and then your wide receiver 1?
It's funny. I change my mind every year. Last year, my strategy was one of the things was I knew that I was going to take a tight end really early. Because the year before, I was like, there's barely any tight ends in the league.
Yeah.
Most of them suck.
Yeah.
So it's like such a zero in your lineup. Because I remember I just kept taking people off waivers and they get 3-4 points every week. And I was like, I can get somebody easier who's a running back or a wide receiver who might not be as good, but still going to have like some sort of production. Because when you get into like the 12th best tight end in the league,
it's bad.
You're getting, who are you going to get at that point? You know what I mean?
Well, that's actually one of those positions where you can find a couple of sleepers. You can take a flyer on someone. There's a couple of guys out there that, that the first tier of tight ends is 2 guys.
Right.
It's Kittle and Kelsey.
Yep.
And then you've got the second tier with guys like Andrews,
Hunter Henry.
Possibly Hunter Henry. There's
he
a
gets
couple
injured.
of guys there.
Probably Gronk.
Maybe Gronk,
depending on what Gronk we get.
Exactly. So do you want to go do it first off? Do you want to try and get one of those top 2 guys? Because otherwise, I think you wait.
Right. That's what I was thinking this time is like wait on quarterback and wait on tight end.
Yeah.
Because the quarterback is so easy to get somebody who has a lot of value. If you don't get Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, there's a bunch of people who are all going to be bunched in there that can get you 20 points week after week after week.
That you can get in much later rounds.
Yes, absolutely.
You can get Drew Brees, who is going to put up a ton of points.
Yep.
You can get him really late in your draft, like your 12th round or whatever.
Yep.
I'm trying to
you can
readjust in my head because I do auction. I don't do standard drafts anymore.
I know you do auction. I've never really heard of that until you told me.
Amazing.
You love it?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I hope we never go back to the standard draft again.
Yep.
Even though I do like it, it's just auction. You're in on every player.
Right.
You're not out on anyone. You're not immediately like, oh, I can't get Christian McCaffrey because I've got the 5th pick.
Right.
No, you still can.
Who are you planning on going all out to bid on? Now we'll get all your guys. Now we'll get your sleepers. Who's out there that you'll just bid till you win?
I'm not going to do that to McCaffrey.
No. Okay.
Maybe a little bit of Saquon.
Yeah.
But I think my strategy right now, at least in the auction draft, is to watch those 2 go off the board for an absurd price.
Right.
$69, $70, $71, $72.
How much money do you get?
You get $200 to start.
Okay.
So if they go off the board pretty quickly, it depends on what the next dominoes are.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. You don't have to, everyone gets to nominate one person. You do it in order like you would the draft.
Right.
You don't have to nominate the next guy off the board. You can be like, I'm going to nominate Kittle right now and see what happens. See if someone blows some money.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you could get Kittle in the first, but you just spend as much money as you want to bid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty sweet.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
So, when we're talking about rounds, I'm trying to convert it in my head because all my prep is based on options.
Right. So who do you spend your money on then? Running backs, wide receivers?
Yes.
Okay.
Running backs and wide receivers. I like to go find my RB1 and wide receiver 1 right away.
Right.
And have those 2 positions solidified. And then I try and get my RB2, my wide receiver 2.
Yep.
And then I'm trying to get some depth at those 2 positions. Then because the way the auction works, then I'm going to be looking at quarterbacks late for like $3.
Yep.
For
you can grab like Josh Allen late though. He's
for like $2.
Yeah, he's a great fantasy option.
Exactly. So that's why you wait on those guys to the very bitter end if you can.
Although I did read the other day that Josh Allen said he's planning on running less this year, which I don't like.
Yeah,
I want him to run.
You can never. Well, here's the flip side of that too. Is that he does have a better wide receiver now in Diggs.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Will there be more volume going towards Diggs? Is Diggs going to be an even more viable fantasy presence this year? I don't know.
I don't know either. What do you think about Stephon Diggs being on Buffalo?
I think it's bad news for Diggs, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Like, I don't dislike Josh Allen as a quarterback. He's not the most accurate guy in the world, but he knows how to play.
Right.
And you've got two other wide receivers who are talented. And you've got a couple of talented running backs in Singletary and Moss who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I wouldn't be telling Josh Allen, hey, don't run so much.
Right.
Actually, I hate when they tell quarterbacks don't run so much.
Let them do a
certain guys, especially when they're bigger.
Yeah.
Like Josh Allen is much bigger than RG3 was.
Yes.
So it's like, no, take advantage of that. Look at Cam. That's not why he got hurt.
Right.
That had nothing to do with why Cam really got hurt. Utilize your assets. Utilize the fact that you have an advantage over someone. That's how you got to do it. Don't look at the quarterback and be like, I need to get 10 years out of him.
Right.
I'll take 5 really good years
That's
over
true.
10 average years just to say I had this guy for 10 years.
Right.
That's a horseshit way of looking at it.
Yeah, you got to play to win, especially in this league, man. You don't know what's going to happen to somebody.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm not saying that running quarterbacks are the be-all, end-all, because after all, look at who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's usually never a running quarterback.
Very rarely. Even with someone like Mahomes or Wilson,
right.
You wouldn't really consider either one of them running quarterbacks. You'd consider them athletic quarterbacks.
Right.
Who can get you some yards with their feet, but you don't look at those guys like Vic.
Right.
Or Lamar Jackson even.
Lamar Jackson, what do you think this year? Does he digress?
Yeah, he's going to have a drop back. He's definitely going to have a drop back, without a doubt.
It's almost inevitable.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to put up those same stats. He's not going to put up the same passing stats. And I think people are going to scheme against him even better to try and take away some of his, athletic gifts.
Right.
It's going to be hard, but I don't expect him to run for nearly as many yards. I don't expect him to throw for as many yards or for as many touchdowns.
No, me neither.
So I think, Lamar Jackson is someone who, even if he does have a down year, still could be one of the top 3 quarterbacks, fantasy-wise.
Right.
I'm staying far away. I think the price isn't worth it.
Right. I don't think it is either. Unless he's there in like the 3rd or 4th round, I'm not going to take him.
Yeah.
So everyone can hear my draft strategy as far as Lamar Jackson goes. What about Tom Brady?
I think he's going to have a good year.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a good fantasy year. He's not going to be one of the top guys because he doesn't do anything with his legs.
Right.
But, that doesn't really matter. I think he's going to throw plenty of touchdowns. It's Bruce Arians' offense, and Bruce Arians loves to chuck. Look what he did for Carson Palmer at the end of Carson Palmer's career. He had a nice little revitalization under
Carson Palmer balled for the Cardinals. Yeah. He was really good. They went to they almost went to the NFC Championship, I believe. They did go to the NFC Championship. Did they actually go to the? I think they went to the. It was either they did or they were the game before, and I think one of those games was when they had it was versus the Packers, and I think Aaron Rodgers had one of his Hail Mary type things.
Yeah, that was definitely the divisional game then. That was the NFC Championship.
Right.
But a quarterback I'm looking at strongly and trying to gauge what price I'd want to pay for him is Kyler Murray.
Touche.
So obviously,
I think he's going to be good.
Last year, he had a good year for a rookie. Plenty of ups and down games. There were some games where he's putting up 2 points, and it was terrible.
Right.
Other games where he's putting up 20, and you're like, all right, great.
Right.
They added Hopkins.
Which is enormous, yeah.
Which is humongous.
Right.
You still have a good wide receiving core. You have an interesting tight end who's a giant.
Who is their tight end?
I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's 6'8".
That's a good start.
But I think Kyler Murray's going to have a good year because they're just going to throw. They're just going to throw, and he's going to utilize his legs to pick up chunks of yards at a time. So don't expect a lot of rushing touchdowns, but I'd expect 600, 650 yards on the ground.
Right.
So you got to look at it. That's 65 extra points.
Yeah, which is huge. When your quarterback can pick up 6 points a week just from rushing, you're going to end up having a good week.
Sometimes with those types of quarterbacks, I look at the rushing yards negate the interceptions sometimes.
Yeah. Easily.
So I'll look at those guys and maybe give them a little bit more because, he might throw 12 interceptions.
Right.
But he also might get, 150 yards over the course of 2 games that washes away those interceptions. So it kind of works out. But he'd be interesting for me if I can grab him. I don't know what the pulse of the league is, what other people want, but that's a guy I'm looking at.
I agree. I think he's going to be good, too. It's only his 2nd year. How about Kenyon Drake?
Okay, sticking with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Could be really good.
Right.
He's one of those guys that I stay far away from because you just don't know. I don't like that unknown quantity.
Me neither.
Unless he's coming off my bench as maybe a flex guy that I'm rotating in and out of my lineup. Could be awesome.
Right. He could be an RB1 or he could be he could end up being nothing. I don't know what the guy's going to do. He went nuts when he went there last year, but before that, he has never done anything.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough to see what he does.
Right. And that's what I'm looking at when I come back or when I'm in the 8th spot as running back. It's who are you going to get for your running back 1? Either you grab somebody at 8 and I don't know who it will be, or when you're coming back on the other side, who's left there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you try and have them be a running back 1. I don't know. What do you think of Nick Chubb?
I'm worried.
About Kareem Hunt?
Yep.
Me too. I think Kareem Hunt's a beast.
I'm always worried about running situations where the two running backs that you typically are going to employ are vastly different.
Right.
It scares me away from both of them.
It scares me because they're both really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chubb's going to have a good season.
Yeah, Chubb's really good.
But is he going to have a really good fantasy season?
Right.
I think he'll chalk up 1,100, 1,200 yards on the ground,
yep.
which is great, but I don't think he's going to hit double-digit touchdowns to really make that as valuable as possible. Same thing on the inverse with Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
He's going to catch passes out of the backfield, might get a couple of touchdowns based off of that, but there's not going to be enough volume to make it worthwhile. So I try to stay away from those two guys unless I can get a really good price.
Yep.
And knowing that Chubb will go higher, I'm going to look to Hunt as the guy that I can possibly get for a steal.
They threw the ball to him a lot last year.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a totally different offense, I imagine,
And he missed 6 weeks.
He did, yeah. He missed more than half of this. Actually, I think he missed 8 weeks.
Was it? I think...
I don't know.
Maybe you're right.
It was either 6 or 8 weeks, but it was a long time.
So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in Cleveland because there's a lot of guys there that could put up really good fantasy years.
Yep.
Baker, if he has a comeback year, he could be great.
He could be. This is his year that he needs to do it. If not, it's going to be 3. This is his 3rd season, right?
Yes.
So if he doesn't start to do something now, I don't know. I feel like once you've been in the NFL for so long, you either make it or you don't. You're either going to be good or you're not.
Yeah.
So 3 seasons is a good amount of time. So if he does shit this year, I remember last year thinking when I watched TV, he was on a million commercials. And I'm like, does this guy do anything other than promote himself on all this stuff?
Yeah.
Because he was involved with everything.
Can't stand him.
Yeah, I don't like him now.
No, he seems like a douche.
Yeah, he probably is.
So we talked about some of the wide receivers, Michael Thomas.
Yep.
We kind of glossed over Julio and Hopkins and Devontae Adams. So in your first round in your 8th spot, you'd like to go running back.
I would like to, depending on who's there, yes.
So could you envision yourself in a scenario where with the 8th spot in a 12-team draft,
yep,
where you're getting 2 top-flight wide receivers and no running backs out of the first 2 rounds?
I could, and then I'd probably just have to take a shitload of running backs and hope a couple of them work out.
Yeah.
Although that would be a serious strategy if I could get 2 really good wide receivers and then draft 6 different running backs throughout.
Yeah.
I just like having one running back who puts up a ton of points every week.
You want that set it and forget it guy.
Right, exactly. That's who I like to look for, and that's who I tried to have with Alvin Kamara last year. Granted, it didn't work out great until the very end.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that was kind of the strategy.
But there's a scenario where you could take 2 really good wide receivers in your first 2 picks.
I could get 2 really good receivers.
And then with your 3rd pick, you're ending up with, I don't know, Le'Veon Bell, who could have a good season.
Yeah, he could.
You know,
I like to stay away from the Jets because I think they suck.
Yeah,
but he could
go James Conner.
Yep, James Conner could be really good when he stays healthy.
Chris Carson out in Seattle.
Chris Carson could be really good if Pete Carroll just feeds him the ball.
Or Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake could be really good if he's around.
You could actually rack up a couple of those guys.
That's very true.
With your top flight wide receiver.
That's very true.
So I would say with the 8th spot, unless one of those top 3 running backs, or 4, I should say, I'll include Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
unless one of those guys drop.
I'm saying 5.
Yeah, probably.
There's 5 running backs who I would take. If not, it's probably going to be a receiver.
Realistically, if I was in your position, I'd be like, I really hope that Michael Thomas falls to me.
Yep.
That's how I'd be looking at it.
I would definitely take Michael Thomas if he's there. Anyone watching is going to steal my draft strategy. But at this point, I don't care because I'm 8th pick. Whoever picks before me, who you're going to take, who you're going to take.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm not anything I say. You're not going to change it. The league is won between rounds 3 and 6.
Yes,
that's where you got to get a steal.
Yep.
Last year in round 4, I got Josh Jacobs, which ended up being a huge steal, and I did that a million times, my strategy over and over and over again, before I took guys like Monty Ball. I took Royce Freeman. I remember Royce Freeman?
Yes.
I took him in the 4th round once. I'm trying to think. There were a couple people who just never panned out that I took. So I don't know. That's usually where it's the league's lost and won, though, is in those rounds. Those are like the battle rounds.
I agree, because a lot of people will reach, and that's where a lot of people make the mistake and take their tight end after those first 2 are gone. And once the tight end run happens, people will take Andrews and spend way too high draft capital on him. It's just not worth it.
I agree.
The points you're going to get out of that position are not going to be, as valuable as your wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
likely.
Like you said before, there were basically 2 top tier tight ends, and if you don't take one of those 2, then it's like a bunch of them are all jammed up together.
Yeah, then you might as well play the flyer game and take someone like Blake Jarwin out of Dallas.
Right.
Someone you're like, there could be a ton of targets for him. This could be awesome.
Right.
Or you say,
and if he's nothing, you can.
I'm believing in the Brady Gronk magic.
Right.
South. You're like, I'm going with Gronk, but Gronk's someone you can be had for 9th, 10th round.
Yeah, I feel like
11th.
someone's going to grab him just because of this area, and he's Gronk like early. But if someone wants to take Gronk that early, so be it. Go for it. Be my guest.
Yeah, good. Screw up your team.
Right. Be my guest.
Leave better talent for the rest of us.
Right.
That's always one of my favorite things. So what about the quarterback position? Obviously, Mahomes would be desired, but that price is going to be probably too high.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson.
From there, though, there's a ton of good talent. I mean, there's Deshaun Watson, of course. There's Drew Brees. There's Aaron Rodgers. There's Russell Wilson, I think is the 3rd best, easily. I mean, there's 4 right there. Tom Brady's going to be real good. I like Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton's going to be a good fantasy player.
Okay.
I think he's going to run the ball a lot, which helps.
Maybe. I mean, it's a 1-year deal, so they might just say F it.
Right.
We don't care.
Yeah, and I think he's out to prove it, too, so he's going to do whatever he can. Josh Allen's always a good fantasy option.
Is there anyone else on the Patriots you would consider taking in any round?
Julian Edelman, of course.
Late, though?
Yeah, later. But I still think he's going to catch passes.
His volume's going to come down, though.
Right. It's not going to be the same because Brady just fed him. I mean, there's a bunch of people for the Patriots I would take late.
Damian Harris,
James White I would take late. I think James White's still going to catch some passes. The Patriots, what sucks with them in the running back position is James White could be the biggest part of the game plan 1 week, and then the next week he catches 3 balls.
Yeah,
so 1 week he could get 22 points, and the next week he gets 4.
So what I've noticed with James White in the trend last couple of years, it feels like starts hot.
Yep.
They go to him a lot early in the season. Midway through the season, it starts to tail off.
Yep.
And then towards the end of the season, they're like, we want to pound the ball even more.
Right.
And that's when you see more Sony Michel.
Yep.
And that's when you'll likely see more Damian Harris or Leonard
Fournette. You think they're going to get him?
I hope not.
Me neither. We don't need him. Although he was pretty good, man, for a couple of years, fantasy-wise. He was solid. Yeah.
But if you looked really at the stats and you go, dude, 3.3 yards per rush, that's
They gave him
garbage.
25 touches a game. That's why. They just fed him the ball because they had nobody else to go to.
They sucked as an organization.
They sucked. They're going to suck this year. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. The Washington football team, the Jets, they're just going to be the bottom barrel of the league, and I'm going to try and stay away from anybody who's on those teams because it's just going to be a crapshoot.
Yeah, I can't. I never mess with Jets players.
Me neither. Jets, Redskins, not Redskins anymore. Now they're the Washington football team.
Has 1 or 2 guys that you could look at and be like, okay, this could be interesting. Terry McLaurin.
McLaurin
could be really
good.
And that rookie that everyone seems to be raving about, Gibson.
Yep. Okay. I've heard of him.
Antonio Gibson.
Yep.
And people seem to really like him. But I look at that and go, Adrian Peterson's still going to get the bulk of the work at the running back position.
And I'm going to stay away from him.
I'd go with McLaurin. For anybody in that situation, that's it.
And then Jaguars, who is there? I know people are saying Armstead now.
Gardner might be the only actual option.
Yeah, I'm going to stay away from him.
When you think about it, because he likes to throw downfield. He could rack up a ton of yards and a fair amount of touchdowns, but I think you're also going to get a ton of picks with that.
He could rack up a ton of garbage time, too. That's the thing with some of these teams is in the fourth quarter when they're losing, the other team's just letting you throw the football and they're playing bend, don't break defense. You pick up a bunch of junk points, but junk points still count.
So going with that philosophy, what about someone like Joe Burrow?
I'm not going to shy away from him, but I'll take him. But he's going to be able to get. You're going to be able to get him late.
Yeah.
In the draft.
He might not even get drafted.
He can be a bench QB.
Yeah, do you like doing that though?
Sometimes I think about getting 2 QBs and then just playing back and forth, because you can get 2 people like that at the very end of the draft.
Yeah, you can. I just don't like taking up the roster spot on another quarterback that I'm going to...
That's true.
Particularly if I feel really strong about my quarterback, I'm not going to have a second guy ride the bench. If I don't like either of them,
That's
like,
true.
all right.
That's true. If you have a really good quarterback, you got to just throw him out there every week, regardless of matchup, and just set it and forget it.
With the exception of one really good quarterback, and that'd be Russell Wilson. There are weeks when he puts up 11.
Yes, there are.
Son of a bitch.
Yes, there are. He did it to me a couple times 2 years ago.
I could have played Ryan Fitzpatrick and gotten 30.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. Where's he going to go? You have any interest in him?
No.
Me neither. They're going to stink. Speaking of teams that aren't going to be good, the Dolphins are certainly one of them.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting
It's going to be a very fun season. I'm very excited that it starts a week from tomorrow. It seems like it's so far away still because there was no preseason, but now I'm like, it's a week from tomorrow. There's going to be a real game on next Thursday night, and I can't wait.
You know what I'm excited for?
What's that?
Next week's show.
Yep.
You know why?
Why?
Your mom's picks.
Yeah, buddy. I forgot all about that. I'm going to have to get that done too now because the season starts in a week, basically. All right, man. Wow, we went 40 minutes. It's good.
Talking fantasy football
and talking shit. That's all we do. All right. Do you have a secret sleeper that you want to give the people?
A secret?
I honestly don't have any sleeper.
I might have actually just given it to you with Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin, okay.
Yeah, that might be one of the ones where you're like, oh, he's going to have an Andrews type year.
Jason Witten's gone.
Gone.
And yeah, Blake Jarwin's the starting tight end, right?
Yep.
Very nice.
By all reports, he's looked really good out of camp.
Yep.
So that might be a guy you look at late and go, I'll wait on tight end and snag him before the third run on tight ends happens.
The person that I like, who it's unfortunate that they have so many running backs, is A.J. Dillon, the running back for Green Bay Packers. But they have Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
So it's like, crap, I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to give them both the ball.
That's kind of a tough one because it's not like you're looking at one of those guys and being like, you're so different from the other one.
Right.
That's like, okay, you're clearly... they're kind of similar. You look at A.J. Dillon, he's a bigger guy. You can't imagine him catching too many passes out of the backfield.
Yep.
But is he going to get the chunk of the goal line work?
Right.
Like, that's a hard one. That's what's
going to suck is they're going to keep giving them both the ball, I feel like.
Yeah.
And they're probably both going to be really good is what I think, is they're going to both run all over the place. But then it's like, who's really going to do it? I don't know. Who's going to be the more valuable pick?
So let me ask you this. Let's say you end up with Dalvin Cook.
Yep.
The 8th pick.
Yep.
Are you the type of guy that's going to go and get his backup later on?
Probably. Madison?
Alexander Madison?
I'll probably take Madison at the end of the draft anyways, just so whoever takes Dalvin Cook, I'm going to have him, just so you know.
So you have trade bait.
Yep, exactly. That's a good thing, too. I love that stuff.
Do trades happen in your league?
Yeah, big time.
They almost never happen in my league.
Really?
Same guys for 14 years.
Yep.
There's like one trade every 2 years.
Really? No, this is a lot of trades. Lots of controversy gets stirred up. It's taken very seriously.
Wow.
Lots of arguments. So it'll be a whole thing. All right, guys. We will see you next week, and it will be the night before. It's basically the night before Christmas to us, so we'll see you on NFL Eve. Yeah, buddy.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.